So the surgery I have here with the little scar, and this bill was about $80,000 US. So that keeps my premium down to like $400 a month instead of like $1,200.
$1,200.
It would run you anywhere from about $800 to $1,200 a month, still with deductibles.
Like USD.
Yeah. My brother-in-law spent a week in intensive care and in a private room, and his total out-of-pocket was less than my dog overnight at the vet.
Today's guest is a fellow YouTuber, Billy.
Oh, my name's Billy Murphy. I am from America. My wife is Taiwanese, so I've been coming here primarily for most of my time as a tourist, vacation-wise, since the mid-90s. Like even long before the MRT system.
I was like born like 89.
And now we're kind of evolved to that point where we come back seasonally. I still have a real estate business in the U.S., so I kind of tend to some of the stuff there a little bit. I work mainly remotely with a partner, but I still like to do some hands-on.
Okay, so you're not like retired yet. Like you're still like...
I'm basically semi-retired. I have a few apartments that I still have to keep an eye on.
First visit to Taiwan was in the mid-90s.
Yeah.
How has Taiwan changed from that time, from like a foreigner's perspective? Like now it's a little bit different because you live here like at least part-time, but is there any like big changes that you feel like, wow, Taiwan has actually come a long way, or something else that has changed since your first time in the mid-90s?
The biggest change is with the technology, which I mean the internet. When I first came, there was no internet. There's no Google Maps. No YouTube videos that kind of tell you what was going on. And then you mix in the culture shock of coming from America to densely packed, city. Everybody, no personal space, lights, just everything was just like you walk around like,
I have to ask you now, because I think you might be the perfect person to answer my next question. Because most of the foreigners I talk to here who has lived in Taiwan for like myself, like 14 years, I always want to know like what is the difference between like living in Taiwan or living in the States, for example, in your case. But most of us, like we've been here in Taiwan for so long, so we don't really know how the world looks like back home anymore. Because I left like Sweden like 14 years ago, and I cannot make that comparison. But for someone like you who lives like 50-50, any other differences between like living in Taiwan and living in the US? And what are you missing most from both locations when you do have to leave?
Biggest difference, Taipei in particular, super convenient. Everything's minutes, apart. And if you want to decide to go somewhere, it's just much easier. Just kind of walk out the front door, hop on the scooter, just walk where you need to go. Where in the States, I got to get into the car, got to drive, even to like go to the grocery store, it's 15-minute drive. And then you got to find a place to park and then walk. It's just everything's kind of more of a chore. Being semi-retired, it's more fun and more convenient day-to-day in Taiwan than the U.S. There's just more stuff to do. And when you go walking, there's always visual stimuli going on. So even if you walk the same streets, it's not as boring. Really no bad area in Taiwan. Where in America, even I'm in a very, very safe neighborhood, there is still sections that could be a little sketchier. The healthcare system in the U.S. is very advanced. You have a lot more options than other countries because you're paying, but it's a for-profit. Insurance premiums are higher. I actually use an alternate form of health insurance. So that keeps my premium down to like $400 a month instead of like $1,200.
$1,200?
If you're my age, not working for a company under a group plan, and you had to buy individual coverage, it would run you anywhere from about $800 to $1,200 a month, still with deductibles.
Like USD?
Yeah. And that's not NT.
What? That's like my rent.
Yeah, and that's not 100% coverage after that either. You have a deductible as well. So my current plan, the first...
Could you just explain what a deductible is?
Well, basically, the first $6,000 of any medical or doctor bill, I pay out of pocket. Insurance doesn't cover anything. So if the bill is $8,000, the first $6,000 is mine.
Right, even you paid like,
even
let's
though
say
I'm paying
$1,000 $1,200.
Yeah. Even if I paid that. Then they only pay typically 80%, not of the balance, of what they think the balance should be. They think he should only have charged $6,000 to begin with. And I've already paid my deductible, say, on that case. So in that case, they would only pay 80% of the $6,000, and then you would pay the rest out of pocket. So the surgery I have here with the little scar, and this bill was about $80,000 US. Now back then, I had good group insurance, and it really only cost me a few $100s out of pocket. But if I was insured today, it would probably cost me at least 10 grand out of pocket to cover that surgery. So that's why I got to have insurance on there. If you have a heart attack, it'll cost you $300,000 for a couple days in the hospital.
That's insane. Only that would be a reason for me to move to Taiwan full time. And speaking about ways to protect yourself from potentially super expensive situations, both in the US but also here in Taiwan, that is exactly what the sponsor of today's video, NordVPN, can help you with. And not only does NordVPN keeps you safe when using public or maybe even fake unsecured networks, for example in cafes or maybe even at the airport while you're traveling, NordVPN's Threat Protection Pro also protects you from fraudulent websites as well as keeping your data safe from trackers and other ads stealing or using your data, even in the assumed safe space of your own home. And in addition to this, NordVPN can of course also be used to access online content that normally is not available here in Taiwan. For example, the movie Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. And as always, signing up for NordVPN itself is also 100% risk-free, since they're offering a 30-day money-back guarantee, which means that if you're not 100% satisfied, even after using the service for 30 days, you can just contact NordVPN and of course get 100% of your money back. So please do yourself a favor and click the link down in the description or head over to nordvpn.com/Lukas to try it out for yourself. And thanks to my friends over at NordVPN, if you do use my personal code Lukas, you'll get 4 months extra regardless of which one of the 2-year plan you sign up for. So NordVPN, thank you again so much for this offer, but for now, let's head back to the rest of the video. I was surprised that you're still paying for the US because I've only heard like terrible things about the US healthcare, but you do live there like 6 months of the year too, so like...
You have to have it because paying out of pocket will drain you rapidly. And they also have this thing called like in-network doctors, out-of-network. We have PPOs, HMOs, so those are different styles of plans that can affect your premium. Some, like the HMOs, you're like a whole in-network type of doctors. There's only like 3 doctors on the list. You have to go see one of them. You can't just go to the specialist directly. You have to go to him first. He has to give you a referral to go to that doctor.
That is crazy.
Just don't get sick in the States.
Yeah, don't get sick in the States. Wow.
Compared to Taiwan, it's next to nothing. My brother-in-law spent a week in intensive care and in a private room, and his total out-of-pocket was less than my dog overnight at the vet.
Okay, I forgot my first question now, but so the advice for travelers or anyone coming to Taiwan, join the Taiwan health insurance.
Yeah, even if you don't do all your stuff here, it's still infinitely cheaper. Even no insurance in Taiwan is probably cheaper than most people have to pay deductibles and copay with insurance in the United States.
Yeah, it's crazy that you pay like $1,200 per month just for the insurance that still does not cover everything.
No. It's
that
crazy.
Is crazy.
But the differences in salaries.
True.
So
but still, $1,000 must be like a huge percentage of a normal salary.
That's when if you're self-employed or you're not with a big company. If you're a big company, companies will pay a portion of it. So when I worked for a large company, my premium was like $300 and the coverage was like 10 times better. Because you get a big discount because there was 350,000 employees in the company. So they gave a better discount for each individual person than one person. Most people work for companies, so they're going to have some type of group coverage.
Yeah, because like now me being like my own employer, so to speak, like I pay like around like 2,000 Taiwanese dollars, which is like 60 USD. Yeah. And I thought that was expensive. I was like, wait, I have to pay even if I'm not sick, you know?
Yeah. No. Taiwan is so cheap on there and so much more convenient to go to the doctor. In America, for a cold, you self-medicate.
Oh, yeah, in Sweden too.
Yeah, you don't. Taiwan, they're so spoiled. They run right to the doctor.
Exactly.
And the doctors are open like 7 to noon, 1 to 4, 7 to 11, and then the 24 hours. You can go to the doctor at like midnight, no problem. Walk in, walk out, and you leave with your prescription. Cost you 250 NT. You know.
1 hour later you come out with like a bag of like 1 week of pill, and it's like
all
it's a dumpster
individually
floor.
wrapped each one. You don't just get a big bottle and you got to pour
get
it out
like
yourself.
the
They're
day
like
portions.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane.
And you leave right with it. Like in the States, you'll have to go and drive
to the pharmacy. Yeah.
Wait for this prescription to come in. Generally, you drop that off and call it in. A few hours later, today you'll get a text like it's ready. You can go pick it up. And most base insurance plans don't cover medicine. You have to pay extra for medicine. Well, so like my plan that I have now doesn't cover medicine, but they do belong to a group that offers like bulk pricing, so you can get like a discount on it. So it's different generics. So in Taiwan, it's cheaper to go to the doctor for a cold than it is to go to the pharmacy and buy cold medicine.
It seems like it's a full-time job just to understand the U.S. health system and to like.
Well, you understand, don't get sick.
Okay, step one.
Yeah, don't go get sick. Don't break anything. You'll be okay. But one time I had to have an eye special prescription, and I was coming to Taiwan, and I needed more when I was here. Now, in the States, when I went to, and at the time I worked for the big company, I had very good, some of the best group insurance that you could get. I handed the prescription to the pharmacy. He goes, wow, it's the cheapest deductible I've ever seen for this drug. I said, well, great. I'm feeling happy. And he goes, it's only $250. I said, I thought you said it was the cheapest. He said, yeah, it's normally like $600 or $800. I could buy the same Bausch & Lomb without a prescription right out of the pharmacy. It was $22 US. Same one. And I had to pay $250, and my insurance was paying the other $1,000 because they tossed $1,250 for the same drug in the US. That's why you have to have insurance, because if something happens to you, you can be bankrupt. One of the largest or number one reasons people have to file bankruptcy is due to medical cost.
With this information, I would argue that when it comes to like the time we're actually going to retire, is your plan to then move to Taiwan full time, or are you still planning on doing like 50-50?
No, there'll be a point it'll be too hard to travel. Our plan long term will come here. China might change those plans, but outside of that, long term would be here, because if you need any kind of long term care, like my mother-in-law had dementia there, and she had in-house care, Taiwan care for over 10 years. And that's like only like $1,000 or so US a month for that same, not even the same level of care, because their care is very, very good here for what they would call full-time care. You're looking at $30,000 to $40,000 a month, and they only come in for like 8 hours a day and try to do as little as they can during those 8 hours. So it's 30 or 40 times more expensive if you need long-term care.
USD?
For live-in healthcare, somebody to take care of you. And then when they call live-in, it's not 24 hours a day. That's like 8 hours. Where in Taiwan, you can get a healthcare worker where if you keep them full-time 24 hours a day, and they're doing cleaning and cooking as well as taking care of whoever needs it, it's closer to like $1,000, $1,200 a month, US. So if you need long-term care, we would stay here.
So it's the same price of having like an actual person taking care of you 24/7 than just the health insurance in the US.
Yeah.
What?
But we looked at another one in Nehu.
Wow,
You're not ready for that yet.
Seems like you have done a lot
of
of research, and then you have like your retirement plan already set.
Yeah, we're not quite ready for those yet, but in the long term, the house we're in now is part of the family home. Eventually that'll be sold, so we'll need something on our own. And you may not be aware of it, as you get older, it gets more difficult to rent, even as a local person or a foreigner from independent landlords.
Why?
Because of 444, they don't want you to die in the place.
Is that a thing?
Yes. My family tells me all the time, like, you go rent. They're like, no, they won't let you rent. They don't want you, and they don't want you to die in the place, so they think it'll be, ghost or traumatized. You know how a lot of the superstitions are with the locals.
You are a fellow YouTuber.
Yes.
And you have a very different style to compare, for example, me and all the other foreigners here in Taiwan, I think. What can we expect to see for those of you who have not yet seen your YouTube channel?
Neighborhood walking. I just kind of strap on the camera and take you along for a walk. sightseeing, and then others will be just a travel related.
I thought you were going to say trade shows is one of the categories.
That too.
Because to me, like the first time I saw your videos popping up, it was like the trade shows. But maybe that is included in the walking tour category.
I put them under the walking tours. They have proven to be some of my more popular ones, so maybe that's why you see them in the feed.
Yeah.
One of the, in particular, the last year's Taipei Bicycle Show, which is
I
one
think
of the...
that's the one I saw.
Yeah, that video's got almost 370,000 views. So that one's like my one viral moment on there. So that one shows up in a lot more feeds. I like trade shows on there. I'm interested in biking. I grew up around motorcycles and bicycles. I have the injuries to prove it today.
Okay.
But so I like checking those out along one for myself. And I take those as like a walking tour, like you went to visit the trade show yourself.
Exactly.
So instead of just doing like an interview, like, oh, here's one hot new product or this product, and we'll talk to this one vendor, I'll walk you from booth to booth, place to place, and do the entire show. And they're usually quite large, so there's multiple floors. I kind of do one floor per video, so it's the computer show took four different days to show. The bike show's 3 main floors, so spread out over 3 videos.
So like you're saving me like the ticket money to go there. I don't have to buy a ticket. I just watch you like your videos.
No planes, no airfare, no worrying about foreign language. It's mainly to give people either in the trade or in the interest the opportunity to visit the trade show without physically being here.
Well, hopefully there are many, many more years until we have to discuss our retirement plans.
Yeah.
But it sounds like Taiwan would be the place. But until that day comes, hopefully we also get to see a lot more walking tours.
Yep.
And if you cannot travel here to Taiwan for these trade shows, just go and check out the YouTube channel. You, of course, have all the links down in the description. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and like this video to show your support. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Lukas. It starts with L as in like, ends with S. And subscribe. Please do both. And see you all in the next one.